About 4 years ago, Osei Darkwa, who's president of Ghana Telecom University, came to UCSB, had a visit with Matt Terrell, Dean of Engineering, and Matt was telling him all about this brand new Institute for Energy Efficiency. And so he asked to see me, and he came and visited me, and he said, I was showing him all this stuff about the great research we're doing. And he said, that's really nice, but why don't you help people? Can't you help people? This doesn't do us any good. And his goal is to get lighting for students in Ghana. And they've noticed a very significant correlation between whether students have lighting at home and how well they do in school. If they don't have lights, they do poorly and they don't graduate. And his goal is to get a light for every student in Ghana, which is something like millions of lights. So that's an issue. And so that's been one of our focuses since then, is to take this technology and make something that would help people. As you've seen, there's lots of things like solar-powered flashlights out there. And when we started, and Jacques was very much a part of this, went out and bought every solar-powered flashlight out there, which is okay, and there's a lot of good technology there, but it's a little hard to read and study when you have to hold this the whole time. So we focused on making reading lights, and also just making something that's less expensive than what existed at the time or really exists today. Because if you're going to do this on a scale of millions or hundreds of millions, it has to be inexpensive. So part of the problem is just having lighting at all, but there are other issues. Lighting by kerosene or candles or wood is really expensive, right? It's about $6 a month in most of these countries. And that's a lot more than you would pay for one light bulb working in your home. It's more than 10 times more expensive for them to light with kerosene than it is for you to light your home. And so that's a problem. Another big problem is just burning kerosene puts out lots of soot. It's very unhealthy. The World Health Organization has estimated that if you get your lighting from kerosene, it's equivalent to smoking 2 packs of cigarettes a day. So we can encourage students to learn and read at night, but if you're encouraging them to effectively smoke 2 packs of cigarettes a day, maybe that isn't really worthwhile. So that's the other problem we're trying to solve. And the final one is the fire danger, that millions of people get burned from the fact that kerosene lamps get knocked over and beds in houses and things like this get lit on fire. So Claude here has an example. He has a kerosene light. So you can see what one of these looks like. So that's the problem. That's what we're competing with, and that's what we want to eliminate. And I believe that within our lifetimes, we can eliminate kerosene as a lighting source in the world. This is a plot that's just showing all the soot in just 6 minutes that comes off one of these kerosene lamps. And as Claude says, that's US grade kerosene, which is probably better than you get in most third world countries. So what we had to come up with, our goal here was now to take the best, most efficient LEDs and create a low-cost, portable, solar-powered version of this for education.
One of the things we try and do at Untitled Light is under-promise and over-deliver. John mentioned to you it takes about 2 days to fully charge this. That's what we tell people. That's what we promise. We tell them 8 hours of direct sunlight will produce 4 hours of LED light. Take this light out, put it in the bright sunlight right now, it'll produce 6 to 7 hours of LED light. You have no problems if people get more light than you promise them. We still make it 8 to 4 though, because we may be able to lower the price a little bit more by going to a slightly less efficient solar panel. Okay. Current price of manufacturing these, well, let's see. We started a year ago. It was costing us $8.50 each to make them. As of today, it's $5.98. We expect to make it even lower. We don't run fancy surveys and studies, but we just intuitively know that if we can make it cheaper, more people can afford it. We're completely transparent in everything we do, including our pricing. You can buy this, $7 FOB factory in China. That gives us a margin of $1.02. If you're at all skilled in business, you realize that's not a really big margin, but you do need to have something to pay the phone bill with. Now, John is modest about the design of this light. But it's being made to go to places where there's no Radio Shack, there's no battery testers, where things are difficult. So it needs to be tough. Now that light passes a drop test, an electronic drop test. So how many pieces did it go in? Got a battery? Okay, usually the battery cover comes off. The battery comes out. Now I did this one time, and I reassembled it, and I went to click it on, and it didn't come on. I thought, oh boy, how am I going to talk myself out of this? And I found the weak spot, me. I had forgotten and turned in the battery upside down. I'd reversed it. It wasn't the problem with the light. Another thing is, you know, a lot of the country, a lot of the world, when it rains brief and hard. You don't have rainy days, you have rainy times of the day. So this is the same light that I just disassembled. Put a washer on it, otherwise it floats. Now, by the way, this light is not supposed to stay on, because immersion is a great deal different than rain. But nobody told that to the light. So we'll just let it sit there while I talk. When the folks at the World Bank bought 50,000 LED lights to send to Haiti, they couldn't find more than 10,000 at one place. And they're also disappointed at how well they lasted, because they started deteriorating in the rain. I said, check your email, and sent them that. Okay. Now, the reality is that light's never going to get shipped anywhere, because it's probably going to get a few drops of water in it while it's sitting here, and that's not good for it. But it does withstand rain. Okay. Now let's talk about how we distribute this light. Oh, good. I did this wrong. Okay. We sent our first order of 1,250 lights arrived on December 31st, New Year's Eve, 2010. We air freighted 100 of them out early January to Ghana. At the end of the year, we had passed the 14,000 light mark. The lights are proving pretty popular, as you would expect. The lights have been sent. We can't keep up on these things, okay? This is actually an incorrect slide in two respects. One, it says 33 countries, but if you count them, I think you'll see 30. Okay? And it's actually 34 countries. So we just can't keep up with it. But the point is, there's a lot of places that need the light. And so we send them where they're needed when people contact us. We currently have 17,000 lights that have been produced. We're pending orders for 28,000 more. When John talked about tens and hundreds of millions, that's exactly what we intend to do. When you've got over 1.5 billion people in the world that are using things like kerosene to light their homes, and it's lousy light in addition to being unsafe and expensive, a solution really needs to involve more than 10 or 15 or 100,000 lights. It's nice to do that many lights. There's no question about it. It feels good. But it doesn't solve the problem. We're out to try and solve the problem. When we set out to start, by the way, we did not plan to make a light. We thought somebody out there must be making a light. Go ahead and pass it up when you're done looking at it. Somebody out there must be making a light that's good enough to do this. We'll just buy their light and distribute it. We didn't find anybody making that kind of a light. Maybe there is somewhere. We're not about, you good at catching? Ready? Here it comes. All right, I'm going for distance. Okay. Our idea, you see, we're not out for market share. We're not out to be the light that everybody buys. We're out to have people have light. So if somebody else can make a light that's as good as our light for the same or less money, we'll stop making lights and we'll start buying lights. A little different than your normal company. We're not out to dominate the world or have market share. We look at other light manufacturers and we don't consider them to be competition. They're allies. We're all allied in the battle against darkness. If somebody is lucky enough to be somewhere where they actually have a choice, everybody wins whatever they choose. Most of the people in the world who need these lights don't have one choice, much less multiple choices. Part of the way we intend to scale this up is our distribution plan. Let's say it costs $10. It's actually a little less than that now, but just to make the math easy, let's say it costs $10 to make a light, to ship it, pay any duties or fees, and put it in the hands of somebody in a developing country. If we go out, John and I, and get $10,000 in donations, make 1,000 lights, if we take them out and give them away, 1,000 families are better off, and that's a wonderful thing. But if those people are by and large buying kerosene, no matter where they are, while kerosene can vary in cost, it's expensive. And nobody picks it off a tree or digs it up out of their backyard or processes it themselves. They have to buy it in the commercial marketplace. They have the money for kerosene. They have the money for this light. It varies from country to country. But in some countries, full payback time for this light is in the range of maybe 6 weeks. In some, it may be 2 months. Some maybe a little more, a little less. Bottom line is after that, you're looking at just batteries. Okay? You're not going to be able to get rid of all your kerosene with this. There'll be rainy days, there'll be periods when you want another light, anything like that. But you're going to save a lot of kerosene, and the cash payback is going to come quick. Okay? So if we can sell, if we take the 1,000 lights and we manage to sell them, and we get paid for just 95%, and we take that 95% and we make more lights without taking into account that as we're scaling up, our costs will go down or anything like that, we make 95% of the first batch of as many lights as we made the first time, send them out back and forth, losing 5% every time, goes about 89 times, so you send out that last single light, theoretically get paid for part of it, and you're done. It becomes 19,163 lights. That's how we see this getting up into the tens of millions. We do give some lights away. We give away as many lights as we can. There are some people that it's the only way they're going to get lights. But when somebody asks us to give them 1,000 lights for free, we see 19,000 lights. And we think that in the long run, we're going to be able to give away more lights if we can sell lights.
What?